Welcome to our pod. I just want to say I love your hair. I absolutely love your hair, and
I hate my hair.
I want to play a song. Feeling very Tony Braxton-y.
This is really out of order.
Your hair looks wicked, Nick. Your hair looks wicked. What is going on here?
I think several things are going on. First of all, I had a haircut today. I'm just remaining strong, I think, at this time. So that's the first thing that's going on here. I also feel really annoyed at my mum about it. And I don't know why.
Why do you... Why?
But I'm feeling very annoyed at you for my haircut.
This is why mothers get blamed for literally everything. What do I have to do with your hair?
Nothing.
Exactly.
So what's going on here? And we're basically here to talk to you guys about everything that's going on here in our lives, in your lives. I mean, do we want to talk about why we felt the need to start this pod?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the intention behind us creating this podcast?
The intention was to share, I guess, our mother-daughter journey.
There are still arguments.
Would you say arguments?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say arguments.
Oh.
I wouldn't say we have arguments. We haven't had an argument for a while.
That's because I feel like I don't really argue.
That's true.
I feel like you want an argument from me. But I'm like...
Oh, you're the mature one.
Yeah. Look at my hair. Look at my hair.
Your hair looks wicked. It looks wicked.
This is 40-year-old hair.
It's not 40-year-old hair. It really isn't. You just need to play around with it.
Yeah.
And stuff. So yeah, so before we kick off,
yeah,
we wanted to do some cards.
Sure.
So you told me about these cards actually, didn't you?
I didn't.
You did, sweet.
No, you said that a couple of times. And I said it wasn't me.
It was you. Well, I don't know who told me about these cards, but it was her. They're Skin Deep, and there's different editions, and they're basically conversational starters. So we thought it'd be a good idea to kick off what's going on here.
Oh, excuse me.
With a few conversational starters.
Okay, but am I taking a card and then reading it to you that you have to answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Should I start?
You start. Yeah.
We have to go with the first card we picked.
No.
Okay. I'll just look through the deck then. Okay. What's the greatest gift someone has given you and why?
The greatest? That's such a big question. Your dad, because he gave me you.
So the greatest gift someone gave you is my dad.
Is your dad? He gave me you.
So your greatest gift is me.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. When was the first time you realised that your parents were imperfect?
There's been so many times.
The first time you realised?
I feel like I established that quite young.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you guys were young parents.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard to answer that question without getting into our familial history.
I hear you.
Do you know what I mean?
Let me ask you something. Because I was doing a bit of research before this pod.
Oh, this woman is always doing a bit of research, I tell you.
I am, because you can't have constructive intellectual conversations without a bit of research.
Sure.
So I was doing a bit of research, and it says it's believed to be sensible for a young person by the time they're mid-20s to no longer care about what their parents think about them.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you care about what I think about you and what your dad thinks about you?
A lot less.
A lot less?
Yeah.
Do I care about
what your parents or what nan and granddad think of you? Surely that care's going to be there.
I do care, but it's very minimal. Like, it's important for me that they're proud of me. It's important for me that they care about me enough to check in and to offer me advice.
Yeah.
But if they thought I was unsuccessful or successful, at this point, it wouldn't really matter anymore.
The research was saying it's healthy, it's believed to be healthy, that by the time a child reaches their mid-20s, that they shouldn't care for their parents' opinion on their life anymore.
They shouldn't really be looking for validation from their parents. And if they're still seeking validation from their parents by mid-20s, it's causing them a disservice.
I agree. I know for me, when my life started to change was when I began living for myself, when I began making decisions that I felt best suited me, that best pleased me, without regard to how it made you feel.
Yeah.
Because there was a period, I think, in my life where it felt like there was a lot of pressure for me to do what would make you proud or would make you happy. When I'd learned that and realized how unhappy it was making me, I had to actively move away from it so that I can make decisions. And if those decisions backfired, I only had myself to blame. It's really unhelpful for children when they're getting so much kind of pressure from their parents or their carers to go to uni, to get a good career, or to do this apprenticeship, or to make this amount of money, or date this person. When you have that kind of pressure and you make your decisions based on what these people are telling you, it's really easy for you to then pass the blame for when those choices in your mind fail.
Yeah.
And I think
lack of accountability.
Yeah. And that accountability has been a major theme throughout 2022 for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Yeah. There was something I was listening to earlier on today, actually. And someone asked somebody, how do I help advise someone if they are going down the wrong path or they're doing something wrong? And the person responded with, you don't. Because number one, how dare you interfere with their destiny?
Yeah.
Number two, if they do what you've just told them and it all goes tits up, they're going to blame you. And if you do what they've told them and everything goes right, you've taken away their win.
Yeah.
So the best thing that you can do for somebody, whether they're your friend or your child, is to listen.
Yeah. And what? Listen and not offer advice. That's tough.
Very tough. But we all want to be the one giving advice because we all believe we're right. And I think as parents, I think that's one of a big struggle that we have to overcome. And I think it was definitely something between us.
Well, as I've gotten older, I understand more, where the parents are coming from.
Yeah.
I've been there, I've done that. I'm telling you, so you don't need to make the same mistake.
Yeah.
But I think what parents do need to realise is that we kind of look at our parents as flawed as you may be, or as broken as you may be, or as as dysfunctional as you may be.
Excuse me.
Parents.
Do you think I'm dysfunctional?
Just wait. Your kids still look to you as this figure of importance.
Yeah.
That you've achieved so much, or that you're so successful. There is a strong respect on the whole for our parents.
Yeah.
So when you're kind of saying to us, I've made this mistake already, you don't need to make it again. It's kind of like, if I want to make this mistake and you've made that mistake, then great. Because it's like, I'm on the same path that you were on then. And we look up to you as parents. So it's like, well, I'm doing something right. And I understand parents don't always, you don't want to see your child suffer. But that was the only way that you grew.
Yes.
The only way that you were able to get to a particular position where you were able to say to someone, don't do that, was that you made the mistake and you learn from it. So if you're shielding your kids from all of the mistakes that they could possibly make, they're just not learning anything. They're not building up their intuition. And you see it. You see those children who have been completely shielded.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's hard as a parent to let children fly.
But
it's
why?
Hard.
Why is that so difficult?
It's hard for I shouldn't say parents. It's hard for women, which is why ideally you need a husband and a wife. You need a mum and a dad in the household to raise children, because women will mollycoddle and they'll want to do everything for their child because they love them and they want to protect them from all the evil in the world. And it's part of our biological makeup.
Yeah.
Whereas men, with their more masculine energy, they're less sympathetic. They have less empathy.
Yeah.
So they will do that rumble and tumble play without fear of the child getting hurt. Or if the child does get hurt, it's okay, no worries, just jump up, go again. So men have this ability to allow their child to flee, and they can give that security to their wife or their partner that it's going to be okay.
Do you think there is a correlation between the amount of single parent homes, which are really, I'm going to assume, are mainly single mother homes, and the emotional frustration in young men at the moment? Do you think there is a correlation between that?
Yeah. Yes, don't you?
I think that's glaringly obvious.
But what emotional frustration do young men have right now, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I feel like we always give the label of women are the emotional ones and men are the logical ones. And I feel like, from my experience, I've known men to be very emotional. I feel like women are quite, I'm feeling all of these things. I need something. Men feel that same range of emotions. We're all human. So men still feel that. Because women have that capacity within us to feel this range of emotion and then deal with it. And I think there is something biologically in us that helps us to navigate our emotions. I don't feel like men have that same thing. So if you're raising a son in a home with only a mother who is feeling this range of emotions, you know, she's shouting, she's screaming, she's walking out of the house, she's coming back, then she wants to have a conversation. That must be
horrible
for a guy who hasn't developed the ability to navigate his emotions.
And his friends aren't doing it.
No one around him is doing it. And he's only got his mother as a comparator as to how to deal with emotions.
That's a lot. It's very difficult for me to pass comment because I've never had a son and I've never raised a son. So I'll never really know how a mother feels towards her son. And I know that it's different because the women that I have around me who have sons tells me it's different. Like, even like my sister, as soon as she had her son, she said, you know, her life now feels complete. You know, I speak to my bestie Lou. And she said it's
different.
The same thing. So I think mothers have this cord with their sons. And I think it takes a particular type of woman to cut that cord at the appropriate time. So that her son can flourish the way he's meant to flourish if there's no man there.
And then we look at, okay, why doesn't that happen? Because that should really be kind of involuntary action that you kind of get to a certain point with your son where you're like, yeah, cool, no problem. And that shouldn't, I feel like mothers and daughters have that quite easily where there's like this cool distance between them once you get to a certain age. But with mothers and sons, I feel like I see it as harder for mothers to do with their sons. And I think to myself, is there, at the rate with which young women or younger women, or like my generation or the generation before, are, in my opinion, just churning out children without any foundation, without any stability, I see far too many single mothers, in my opinion. So at the rate that you're having kids, you clearly don't see it as
important, big deal.
Which if that's your view on having a child, then I'm just assuming that you haven't fully developed the functionality that you would need mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, in order to ensure that that child has a fruitful life. Because if you were balanced or aligned in those ways, in my opinion, you would know, you'd have more inclination as to when that cord should be cut.
Or you probably wouldn't go ahead and have a child as a single parent in the first place.
I agree.
Okay, but we talk about this from a place of you not having children and me not having a son. And it's very easy to pass comment or judgment when you haven't experienced it.
Yeah.
I think it's very difficult to allow your children to fly the nest. And I can say that because the experience I've had with
Yeah.
you. So it's very difficult. With a son, it's probably even more harder because he's a boy. He's your boy. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I guess so. I guess I've seen the whole mothers and their sons narrative. I've never completely understood it. So I kind of roll my eyes to it a little bit. But I don't have any children. I don't have a son. So I'm not.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not fully invested in your emotional connection with your son. I think it's important to note that as a young woman, you can tell when a man has been mothered. And I say that with a negative connotation. I think it's very clear when a man has only been or predominantly been raised by his mum. And it can be off-putting if she has raised him in a way that suits her specifically.
Yeah.
And because there just feels like a lack of preparation for women holistically.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
So it's like their son is taking over the space that the husband should occupy.
Yes. Like I think it's strange if a guy who is my age or like mid-20s doesn't know how to cook.
Okay.
Like how to basically cook, like domestic duties, cook, like properly change his bed sheets, like properly
change his bed sheets. A guy at 25 would know how to change his bed sheets.
Yeah, you would think, yeah. They should, shouldn't they? Sad, isn't it? There are some men, and this, I don't think this is okay. There are some men that won't change their bed sheets if they don't physically see dirt.
That's not okay.
That's not okay.
That's not okay. That's not okay. That's not okay.
That's
okay. All right. So we've got men. We've got a generation of men who are being raised by single parents, women.
Yeah. And it goes vice versa. I don't think it produces the best version of a child when they're only raised by a man.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you agree.
No, I do agree. It's just I come across so few men who have raised children by themselves. It's hard for me to. I don't have enough data.
Yeah, I get it.
The guys that I know that have raised children single-handedly, their children are on point.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I know a couple of people, a couple of guys, I don't want to say any names, but amazing guys, and they've raised their children, and their children, from what I can see, are top notch.
But do you know, there's a couple of things with that. And this is not me saying that I don't feel like men could do a good job on their own. Because clearly you have examples of that. But I think if we were to look at those examples, I reckon that family would probably have strong maternal figures inside of it.
Yeah, and they did.
If a single mother was raising a son but had strong paternal figures in their life, I think you would probably see those kids flourish as well.
You're absolutely
but a lot of the time, you will have single mothers who have other single mother friends or single mother aunties or grandmothers around them.
It's women.
It's just pure women. So when you've got the predominant caregiver raising the children as a man, he's usually got this army of women behind him who can provide the softness, who can provide the maternal, who can provide like the emotion or...
So where are the army of men for single mothers? Where's the army of men for single mothers? But then sometimes some single mothers don't feel like they need a man's influence.
Did you had me?
I had you, and then I met your stepdad from a young age. So what, you were like 4 or 5. We were together for what, 13 years?
So would you say that you were a single mother?
No,
Mm.
no.
But it's funny because I refer to you as a single mother.
That's so strange.
That is weird, isn't it? I
Yeah.
wonder why.
We can dig deep on that if you want to.
Not right now.
Nah. But yeah, I wouldn't. It's difficult because I think it's fragmented.
Yes.
It's fragmented.
Yeah.
So and because that relationship was ended so acrimoniously and it was so turbulent.
What's acrimonious?
Acrimonious, not nice.
Oh.
It didn't end very well.
You know, that word reminds me of Friends. If anybody knows the season and the episode, type it in the comments.
What?
Because there is a time when Joey's seeing the really smart scientist, the black scientist woman that Ross really likes, and he's trying to be like her.
Yeah.
And then
when they was in Barbados.
Yeah. And he's like, she's teaching me all these big words. And then they're in the coffee shop and he's like, if we want to get them on time, we better get
Acrimoniously.
No, he said if we want to get to the movies on time, we better get acrimonious. And I never knew what it meant, but I knew it was wrong. I knew the text was wrong. So when you say acrimonious, I'm thinking,
Yeah, acrimonious is
Yeah.
it means not very nice.
Okay.
So the relationship didn't end very nicely, as you know.
Yeah.
And obviously it was very turbulent during the last 4 or 5 years where you were probably heavily
Formative. More formative, yeah.
Yeah. So you might refer to sometimes it felt very single.
It did. It did. That's why. It felt strongly single.
But he was there.
No, 100%.
And I think him being there had some positives.
100%. I would not refute that. But I think it's important. The types of figures you have are important. Do you know what I mean? And kids, especially when like you're a young person, I think parents often forget or that they feel like their kids are not smart or they're not intuitive or that they're not aligned. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
God will reveal himself to a 2-year-old the same time he reveals himself to a 50-year-old.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like there is, like kids are very in tune, especially like spiritually. Some kids feel it from a very young age. So there are certain energies that kids are more sensitive to than parents would be. So I feel like it's important that the types of figures you have around are of a particular quality, because I think a lot of parents feel like they just need to have the 2-parent household in order for their child to cognitively think, I was raised with two parents. Actually, that child is thinking, I was raised by a mother who had a really nurturing energy, and this strange man,
Tyrant,
this delinquent man, he made me feel very uncomfortable every so. Do you know what I mean? That's how kids process. Do you know what I mean? So when they grow up and then they start to like develop their understanding of what they were feeling at that age, they begin to piece things together, and that can really easily turn into resentment towards the mother.
But I think like because everyone knows that it's said that 2 parents are better than one. Theorists have stated that a number of years. Should a woman find that, I think, should she want to come out of it, she feels as though she might be doing her children a disservice.
I've never got it. I've never understood it.
I think you probably have to be in it to understand it.
I have the child perspective of it. So I've always had the perspective of 2 parents in a household are great. But it didn't discount the fact that there was clearly a dislike between the 2 figureheads, which was very confusing.
I think a lot of it has probably got to do with our age. We were very young.
You guys were very young.
We were so young. And
I mean, how old were you?
We were like, we bought the house at 25.
Yeah.
We got together at 21.
So young.
So young. That's like you now trying to raise a 10, 11-year-old and navigating your relationship with your partner.
Yeah.
and going through the likes and dislikes and making mistakes, arguing,
Trying to purchase a house.
trying to purchase a house, trying to build your careers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Still trying to date
Yeah.
whilst, and you're looking,
Yeah.
you're watching, and you're not watching from a 4, 5, 6-year-old eyes. You're watching from, 11, 12, 13, really pertinent years eyes. And yeah, that must have been difficult for you. I don't know. I think it also depends on the crowd that you hang out with. And the crowd I hung out with were coupled.
Yeah. Were they though?
Yeah, and it would have been more his side. If you think about his side, everyone was coupled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, not my side.
Yeah, because who was there?
The girls were like doing their thing.
Yeah.
They didn't couple up until their 30s,
but
really.
none of them really had children, did they?
No. I was the only one who had a child.
Yeah. It's circumstantial, isn't it?
Yeah.
These things. I mean, it all worked out in your favour.
Yeah. I have an amazing child. You done
a mushroom child.
He wasn't man enough for me. Do
you know what happened this morning? Let me just tell you this story very quickly. I have a spot on my face that I'm hoping the camera doesn't pick up, okay? It's a white pus spot on my face. I know it's there because it's my face. I get in the car, I say, oh, I've got this spot on my face. I was like, I know, I can see it. Don't you think you should pop it? Well, if I thought I should pop it, wouldn't I have popped it before I headed out into the public sphere? I find these things annoying.
You find everything annoying, to be honest.
I do.
But then so do I, so maybe you picked it up from me.
Yeah. No, I don't think you find... No.
No?
I think you get agitated quite easily.
I do.
You don't, yeah.
Yeah, I really do. Mm-hmm. And I think I always have. Because I was speaking to Cami, and I was like, oh, I'm feeling really agitated today. I'm going to lose it. And she was like, oh, you always... You've always lost it. I was like, okay. Do I have anger issues?
That's so funny.
Do you think I've got anger issues?
Yeah, man.
Me?
Yeah.
Really? I think I should see someone about that.
Yeah, probably. I'm 42 years though, so you might be alright. You've been managing. Self-managing.